How do you explain a structure that has stood for over 5,000 years, older than the pyramids of Egypt, yet no one knows exactly who built it or why? Stonehenge, a circle of massive stones arranged with almost impossible precision, standing defiantly on the Salisbury Plain in England. Some of the stones weigh over 50 tons and were transported from over 150 miles away, without modern technology, without machinery. Who had the knowledge and the strength to achieve such a feat? For centuries, archaeologists and historians have tried to uncover the secrets of Stonehenge. Theories range from an ancient astronomical observatory used to predict the solstices, to a sacred site for religious rituals, or perhaps even a portal for spiritual or extraterrestrial connection. But the truth remains elusive. The oldest phase of Stonehenge dates back to around 3100 BC, when it was little more than a circular ditch with wooden posts. But over the following 1,000 years, the site underwent dramatic changes. Enormous bluestones, weighing up to 4 tons each, were transported from the mountains of Wales, a journey of over 150 miles. The alignment of the stones with the rising and setting sun on the solstices suggests that Stonehenge was far more than a monument. It raises a troubling question. How did a prehistoric civilization, without the wheel or advanced tools, create such a precise and complex structure? But the greatest mystery isn't how it was built, it's why. What purpose did Stonehenge serve? A sacred temple, a celestial observatory, or perhaps something beyond human understanding? And the deeper you look, the stranger it becomes. Transporting stones that weigh over 50 tons from over 150 miles away seems impossible, especially when you consider that this was done over 4,000 years ago. And yet, there they stand, massive, perfectly balanced, and aligned with astronomical precision. So how did they do it? One theory suggests that the builders used wooden rollers and sledges to move the stones, but even this idea presents problems. The sheer weight of the stones would have crushed wooden rollers, especially on uneven terrain and marshy ground. Some archaeologists propose that they might have used a network of wooden tracks, similar to railway lines. But again, no evidence of such infrastructure has ever been found. Others believe that the stones were transported by water. The River Avon flows near Stonehenge, and some researchers suggest that the stones were floated down the river on large wooden rafts. But considering the size and weight of the stones, some over 20 feet tall, building a raft capable of holding that weight would have required advanced engineering skills that historians don't believe existed at the time. And then there's the most controversial theory. The stones were not moved by human hands at all. Some researchers suggest that the blue stones, the smaller stones that make up the inner circle, were carried to the site by glaciers during the last ice age, deposited naturally near the site, and later used by the builders. But this raises another question. If the stones were naturally deposited, why transport them into such a deliberate and precise formation? It's the bluestones themselves that make the mystery even deeper. These stones are not native to the Salisbury Plain. Geologists have traced their origin to the Preseli Hills in Wales, over 150 miles away. This raises the question, why would the builders have gone to such lengths to acquire stones from so far away when local materials were readily available? The answer might lie in the composition of the bluestones. These stones have unique acoustic properties. When struck, they produce a resonant sound. Some researchers believe that the blue stones were chosen not only for their appearance, but for their sound, suggesting that Stonehenge may have been used in rituals involving sound and vibration. Interestingly, similar ringing stones have been found at other prehistoric sites across Europe, reinforcing the idea that ancient cultures may have held sound and resonance in spiritual or ceremonial importance. But the blue stones aren't the only mystery. Surrounding the site are 56 chalk-filled holes known as the Aubrey holes. They were first discovered by John Aubrey in the 17th century, but their purpose remains unclear to this day. Some believe that the Aubrey holes were used for ceremonial burials. Ashes and bone fragments have been found in several of them. This suggests that Stonehenge may have been a sacred burial ground. Others theorize that the holes once held wooden posts or stones that aligned with the positions of the sun and moon, essentially turning Stonehenge into a massive astronomical calendar. But there's another theory, a more unsettling one. Some researchers believe that the Aubrey holes were used in rituals or ceremonies involving sound and energy. The idea is that the stones, the holes, and the alignments with celestial bodies created an energetic field, one that may have altered human perception or even consciousness. Could Stonehenge have been designed to connect human consciousness with the universe itself? Thousands of years ago, people stood where we stand today, looking up at the sky through the circle of stones. Were they searching for answers, or were they receiving them? Transporting the stones was only the beginning of the mystery. The real question is, how were they raised and aligned with such impossible precision? The tallest stones at Stonehenge, known as sarsens, weigh up to 50 tons and stand over 20 feet tall. Moving them into place was one thing, but raising them and balancing them in a vertical position, then placing horizontal lintel stones on top to form a continuous ring, required a level of engineering knowledge that, according to mainstream history, shouldn't have existed at the time. Some archaeologists believe that the builders may have dug deep pits and used a system of levers and wooden frames to lift the stones into place. Ropes made from animal hide and plant fibers may have been used to stabilize the stones as they were raised. But the level of coordination and precision required remains staggering, especially when you consider that the stones still stand after 4,500 years. The lintel stones, the massive horizontal slabs that rest atop the vertical pillars, are even more perplexing. They are perfectly shaped and fitted using a technique known as tongue and groove, an advanced method of joining stones that allowed them to lock together without slipping or shifting. How could a society without metal tools achieve this level of craftsmanship? But the alignment of the stones adds another layer to the mystery. Stonehenge is not just a random collection of stones, it's a sophisticated astronomical observatory. On the summer solstice, the sun rises directly over the heel stone, casting a beam of light through the center of the circle. On the winter solstice, the setting sun aligns perfectly with another pair of stones on the opposite side. This precise alignment suggests that Stonehenge may have been used to track the changing seasons, possibly to guide agricultural practices or religious ceremonies. The Neolithic builders would have relied heavily on seasonal cycles for survival, planting and harvesting crops at the right time, could mean the difference between life and death. But why such a complex and monumental effort? Tracking the sun could have been achieved with far simpler structures. Why go to the trouble of transporting massive stones from hundreds of miles away, aligning them with the solstices, and building a structure that would withstand thousands of years of weather and erosion? Some researchers propose that Stonehenge may have served as a place for spiritual connection, where the position of the sun and moon intersected with human consciousness. Others suggest that it was a site for healing. The blue stones, in particular, were believed to have mystical or therapeutic properties. But perhaps the most intriguing theory is that Stonehenge was a center for rituals involving altered states of consciousness. The alignment of the stones with the sun, combined with the acoustic properties of the blue stones, may have created a sensory environment that heightened spiritual or mystical experiences. Despite the scale and precision of Stonehenge, the site was mysteriously abandoned around 1500 BC. Over the following centuries, the stones remained standing, but the people who built and used them gradually stopped coming. Why? Some suggest that climate change disrupted agricultural patterns, forcing people to migrate or adapt to new environments. Others believe that societal changes, the rise of new political or religious structures, may have made Stonehenge obsolete. But there's another, more unsettling possibility. What if Stonehenge was abandoned because the builders achieved their purpose? What if the connection they sought to the stars, to the universe, or to higher states of consciousness was fulfilled? Or what if something happened there that made them afraid to return? The true purpose of Stonehenge in Neolithic society remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Was it a sacred temple, a political gathering place, a portal to another dimension? We may never know the answers, but one thing is certain: the stones remain, silent, watching, waiting. There's another layer to the mystery, one that stretches far beyond Stonehenge itself. Across the British Isles and even across Europe, there are hundreds of megalithic structures that share similarities with Stonehenge. Massive stone circles in Scotland, standing stones in Ireland, and dolmens in France, all built within a similar time frame, all aligned with celestial patterns, and all showing evidence of advanced engineering techniques. Could they all be connected? The Ring of Brodgar in Scotland, for example, is a massive stone circle located on the remote Orkney Islands. Built around 2500 BC, it shares striking similarities with Stonehenge, a precise alignment with the solstices, large standing stones, and evidence of ceremonial activity. But Brodgar is located over 700 miles from Stonehenge. How could two distant and isolated societies have shared such similar architectural styles and spiritual practices? Further south, in Ireland, the Newgrange Passage tomb predates Stonehenge by over 500 years. It is aligned with the rising sun on the winter solstice. A beam of light illuminates the inner chamber for a few brief moments each year. The similarity to Stonehenge's solar alignment suggests that these ancient builders were not working independently. They may have shared knowledge, or perhaps even been part of a larger cultural network spanning thousands of miles. Then there's the Carnac stones in France, over 3,000 standing stones stretching for nearly 4 miles. The alignment of the stones forms long, parallel rows, a feature not found at Stonehenge, but indicative of a shared understanding of geometry and spatial alignment. It's almost as if these ancient cultures were working toward a common goal, building structures to connect with the sky, with the earth, and perhaps with something beyond. But the connections don't stop there. Some researchers have proposed that these megalithic structures are part of a larger geometric grid, a network of ley lines that crisscross the planet, forming points of intersection at key sacred sites. According to this theory, Stonehenge, the Great Pyramid of Giza, Machu Picchu, and even Easter Island are all positioned along these invisible lines of energy, lines that may reflect the natural magnetic field of the Earth. Did the builders of Stonehenge possess knowledge of the Earth's energy fields, knowledge that modern science is only beginning to uncover? Or were they guided by something else? Some evidence suggests that the builders of Stonehenge were in contact with distant cultures, trading materials, knowledge, and possibly even spiritual practices. Ancient carvings found at Stonehenge resemble symbols found at other megalithic sites across Europe, suggesting a shared language or belief system. But how would Neolithic cultures, separated by oceans and mountains, have communicated or traveled such vast distances? The presence of artifacts and materials from distant lands at Stonehenge raises even more questions. Fragments of stone tools from the Alps, amber from the Baltic region, and even shells from the Mediterranean have been discovered near the site. This suggests that Stonehenge may have been part of a larger cultural exchange network, a gathering place where ideas, goods, and spiritual practices were shared. And yet, despite the evidence of interconnectedness, no one knows why these civilizations suddenly abandoned their stone monuments. Stonehenge, Brodgar, Karnak, all of them were gradually left behind, their significance lost to history. Did these ancient builders lose faith in their purpose? Or did they receive the answer they were searching for? If these megalithic structures were truly part of a larger system, designed to channel energy, track celestial patterns, or facilitate spiritual awakening, then why stop? What changed? Perhaps they succeeded. Perhaps the knowledge they sought, the connection they desired, was granted. Or perhaps they discovered something they were never meant to know. And the stones, cold, ancient, and silent, remain as the only witnesses to what really happened. Stonehenge stands as a paradox, a masterpiece of engineering and spiritual significance created by a civilization whose true identity remains unknown. After centuries of study, we know how it was aligned with the solstices, how the stones were transported from miles away, and how it may have served as a sacred gathering place. But the deeper questions, why it was built, what knowledge was exchanged there, and whether it was truly a gateway, remain unanswered. Perhaps Stonehenge was part of something larger, a lost understanding of the Earth's energies, the cosmos, and humanity's place in it. Or perhaps it was an invitation, a beacon calling out to forces beyond our comprehension. The truth of Stonehenge may be lost to history, but the mystery remains. And as long as those stones stand beneath the shifting sky, humanity will keep searching for answers. If you enjoyed this video and want to uncover more hidden secrets of history and lost civilizations, feel free to share, like, and subscribe. There's much more to discover.